welcome to ET Now Startup Central, India's first and only daily show dedicated to startups and entrepreneurship. I'm Chandra Srikanth, joining you live from India's startup capital, Bangalore. And Krishna, it's good to be back after Rexit and Brexit.
Oh, absolutely, Chandra, it is. This is Krishna Kumar coming to you live from ET Now's Mumbai studios. First up, a check on all that's making headlines here at ET Now Startup Central. All the funding action in the week gone by. 14 deals worth $36 million have been struck, and there's a new wave of Japanese investors in India as well. We get you all the action from Microsoft's Think Next, an event for startups that happened in Bangalore last week, and we kick it off with this exclusive interview of Microsoft's India chairman Bhaskar Pramanik on what sets its accelerator apart and the synergies from Microsoft and LinkedIn going forward. India's largest software exporter TCS and Microsoft have come together to mentor startups through Microsoft's accelerator program. We caught up with TCS's VP and Global Head for High-Tech Business, Nagaraj Ijari, for more on that partnership. And Ravi Narayan of Microsoft Ventures traces the history of startups in India. BlaBlaCar, the world's leading long-distance ride-sharing platform with over 30 million members, is keen on upping its ante in the Indian market. Already over 3 million seats for travel on its platform have been offered since its launch in January 2015. We caught up with the country manager in India for the France-based company. More on that chat coming up later on the show. Chandra, let's get a check on all the funding action in the week gone by. First up, 14 deals worth $36 million have been struck. That is the data we're getting from Powered by Venture Intelligence. 14 deals worth $36 million have been struck in the June 20th to June 24th period. The notable ones include the likes of Pretty Secrets and Schedulers, both of whom have raised about $6 million in the week gone by. So those are some of the notable deals. There's also Far Eye, which has raised around $3.5 million. So 3 notable deals in the week gone by as part of the 14 deals that were struck in that period. Now, the key trends that have emerged in the week gone by, venture capitalists are latching on to the logistics theme. Logistics is something that feeds a lot of other different segment of startups in the country. So venture capitalists are latching on to the logistics theme. And also, more importantly, there is a new wave of Japanese investors who are taking their startup bets in the Indian ecosystem. That's another key trend to emerge as far as the week gone by is concerned. All of this data has been powered by Venture Intelligence. Back to you, Chandra, in Bengaluru. A good week, you'd say, Chandra, keeping in mind the poor state of the week before that.
Oh yes, Krishna, I think the key trend to really watch out for is, the trend that you mentioned of Japanese investors taking an interest in India. Now that was largely fueled by SoftBank betting billions of dollars here, but now with Nikesh Arora stepping down, questions on, SoftBank's own future, it really remains to be seen if the other Japanese investors will be as enthusiastic about the Indian startup ecosystem. But guess what? One company that continues to be enthusiastic is, of course, Microsoft, which held its Think Next event last week, which we had exclusive access to. And we, in fact, caught up with Microsoft India chairman Bhaskar Pramanik on really what sets Microsoft and its accelerator apart from the dozens of accelerators that we've seen sprouting up in various parts of the country. And considering this is also his first interview after the LinkedIn deal, he also told us about the synergies between Microsoft and LinkedIn going forward. Let's listen in.
Think Next is about getting the startup community, getting the venture capitalists, getting other industry people together to celebrate the work which has been done by some of the startup communities and startup companies, but also to look at what more is possible. It's also about an exchange of ideas. So we start off at the schools, then we've actually also in the university level, we foster a lot of innovation, we provide a lot of internship, we work a lot with the faculty. But we also provide Microsoft Innovation Centers where students get access to all the latest development tools, access to the cloud, and therefore they can give vent to their ideas and thoughts. We've actually incubated close to about 100 companies, and there are a number of companies which have actually done extremely well, and I'll be talking about a few of those in my talk today.
Right.
But we also have partner accelerators, and like Reliance Gen Next, or ISDI, or Ashoka University, or Sycamore. The founder of Sycamore, Deshpande, the Deshpande Accelerator. So we have a number of different partners who are also taking in cohorts, 12 to 25 in a batch, twice a year, and they are also part of our accelerator program.
How have the data centers really helped you differentiate yourself in India? Are you seeing a lot of interest from the private sector?
So, I think we are more than just a cloud company, so let me sort of start from the beginning. Our mission is very clear. It's about empowering every individual and every organization in India to be able to achieve more. And we believe that there are three bold aspirations which we have as a company which will enable us to do this in a cloud-first, mobile-first world. The first is really around being the best at creating a productivity platform. The second platform, which I think we are very well known for, is basically the personal computing. And personal computing is not about the personal computer, it's about the way human beings interact with computing. And the last, I think, is the intelligent cloud, because the intelligent cloud is really what is going to make all of this happen. If you think about any scenario, whether it's for personal or for business, these are the three components you will always require. The ability for a human being to interact, which is personal computing, the ability to use vast amount of resources without having to pay for it upfront, and then the ability to actually do something which either enhances your business or enhances your own life.
You mentioned, enhancing productivity. How much of a leg up will LinkedIn give you going forward, since that's the world's largest professional network and the second largest user base in India?
So, I know as much about it as you do, and I think whatever has to be written about LinkedIn has already been published. I'm extremely, how will I put it, excited. I think the way I look at it is the way I think Satya has also expressed it, which basically says that we've got the best enterprise social working on the best enterprise cloud, and I think that that's the value which we give our customers.
And it's also a win-win for India, right? Considering India is an important market for.
Absolutely, it's a big market for us. Yeah.
Now, India's largest software exporter, TCS and Microsoft, have come together to mentor startups through Microsoft's Accelerator program. Now, we caught up with TCS's Vice President and Global Head for High-Tech Business, Nagaraj Ijari, for more on that important partnership. Take a look at this.
The Co-Innovation Network, that's called COIN Network from TCS, it's been there for a long time now. It is very well matured, and it has got broader access. And through this, we keep generating ideas within the organization with our customer base also. We felt that the ecosystem which has got venture capitalists, educational institutions, alliance partners, and startup companies, Tata Group, TCS, this whole ecosystem has got much more powerful capability to generate innovative ideas. Combine that with Microsoft Accelerator program, if you work together, I felt that two powerful corporates will come together to help the startups to reach the customers and then see how do we solve our customers' business problems.
If I look at your peers, right, whether it's Wipro or Infosys, they have dedicated funds to invest in startups. Why haven't you taken that approach?
So we feel that the COIN initiative is much more matured and proven. We want to go ahead with this initiative to see that what are the ways we can nurture startup companies, what are the ways we can provide access to them, the market and the customer base. That is more important than acquiring one startup company, I feel.
And within startups, any particular areas that you're more excited about? Say, the ones working on big data or cloud or IoT. Are there, again, any specific areas that you're interested in within the ecosystem?
See, currently our focus is on customers' business problems. That drives everything. If customer's business problem needs a solution through an analytics company, we'll work with analytics company. If a customer business problem needs a cloud solution, we'll go with a cloud company. But it is not only one company. It's the ecosystem of these startups, Microsoft accelerators and TCS Coin, who will work together to solve the problem.
Krishna, there was also, a very interesting study by Microsoft where they really analyzed the history of the Indian startup ecosystem way back from, the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. We have Ravi Narayan of Microsoft Ventures, who is really going to help us decode that in this fascinating chart. He really brings us the highlights, the key points in that journey as far as the Indian startup ecosystem is concerned.
In the very, very first phase, we actually had what we call as the founding of the startup ecosystem. So a lot of people actually came in and started using the engineering knowledge to actually create computer science. Early places like IITs and the IISc started training these early members of our IT industry, and then created these multipliers. So in those times, actually for them to take off, it had to actually walk through a lot of different government initiatives, opening up the markets and letting a lot of IT services kind of contracts come into the Indian startup ecosystem. Obviously, with that, the global delivery model that was actually matured by the services industry also started being adopted by the MNCs, and they started setting up shop in Bangalore and several other cities along the way. NASSCOM got founded. Tally was the first product company, and it continued to grow as we go along into the next phase. So now .com started in the US, actually took off very, very well, but also crashed. Interestingly, the Indian entrepreneurs who actually followed the .com era, while they actually also grew, but they didn't crash as badly as the global markets did. They actually continued to make some good progress. You saw the internet policy being announced, and then slowly over time we got the BASI, the REDIF listing on the NASDAQ, and so on and so forth. So this was the beginnings of what we today have as the e-commerce and the marketplaces and the consumer services companies. The third phase started out with the product companies, iFlex being one of them, Tally being another one of them. They actually started this whole product phase, and it's been going on for quite some time, even though it's not been very, very fashionable, and there have been few and far between product companies around the country. Now it's becoming something that the Indian startups are willing to take on. So you see that there were cross-border VC funds that came in, angel funds that came in, and also mentoring firms like Mentor Partners that came in, and that were looking to build this product ecosystem in India. And that went on for now for several decades, for several years, and then we saw that it's now actually coming into a much broader and a richer ecosystem play, where unicorns now are leading the way.
All right, Chanda, that was a good history lesson as far as the Indian startup ecosystem is concerned. Moving on to the world's leading long-distance ride-sharing platform, which has over 30 million members. I'm talking about BlaBlaCar. In fact, the company says it has offered over 3 million seats for travel on its platform here in India since its launch in January 2015. Now, we caught up with the country manager, Mr. Raghav Gupta, of that France-based company, and he says that the target now is to expand to Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities as well. Take a look.
BlaBlaCar is a long-distance ride-sharing platform. So there are two main things here. One, we are long-distance, typically intercity. And secondly, we are peer-to-peer ride-sharing, which means private cars and people in private cars can share empty seats with other people. We launched in India in January last year. So it's been roughly about a year and a half. Long-distance ride-sharing as a concept, when we launched, was quite new in India. And the first 6-7 months, it took us some time to tell the market, to tell people in India about what BlaBlaCar is, how it works. Over the last, I would say, 8-9 months, we've seen very strong uptake.
You have Ola and Uber, which are for short distance, but who are also promoting their ride sharing a lot. They're all into the game. How do you face up to competition like that?
So our focus is always long distance. BlaBlaCar as a company is present in 22 countries. In all these countries, our focus is long distance. Compared to the taxi aggregators who also now have a carpooling service, most of that I understand is intra-city or short distance. So our focus continues to be long distance. And like I said, we're seeing strong uptake. We measure the number of seats that have been offered on our platform. That number is close to about 3 million seats that have been offered in India across the period that we've been here.
Is India culturally a different market when it comes to ride sharing as a concept? I'm asking this vis-a-vis Western markets or other countries where BlaBlaCar exists.
It takes between 1 to 3 years for a market to understand how ride sharing works. India is different, but not really in my experience. People do hesitate before they share a trip with somebody they don't know. And as they start to get to know how it works, they're very happy doing that. So yes, there are higher concerns around trust and safety in India. Our service solves those in many nice ways, I would say.
You work on a community model. How do you increase supply in a business model like that?
Our trust and safety features with government IDs, we are adding a new service called booking, which makes it easier to use BlaBlaCar and so on. Second is by being present at the relevant places. So when a car owner is thinking about, fuel costs, when a car owner is thinking about the cost of service of his car, with our partners, we need to be present there to make sure that they think about us. And third, I think word of mouth is very significant in our kind of a service.
Talk to us about your monetization plans for your business, in the future.
So the way our service currently works is car owners and co-travelers share the cost of a trip, but we don't charge a fee, so we don't monetize in India. Going forward, we will add new services, and at that stage, we will start monetizing by charging a small fee on the co-traveler side. So when a co-traveler books a seat in somebody's car, BlaBlaCar also charges a fee, which tends to be around 12 to 15% of the cost of a seat. And at that stage, we'll add some services as well going forward.
All right. Also, talk to us about your funding plans, going forward to scale up operations, to reach out to more customers here in the Indian market.
So as a company, we raised about $200 million last year in September. That makes us pretty well funded for now, for scale up in India as well as in other markets around the world. There are no immediate funding plans that we are working on. But that being said, we're always in discussion because, it's always a good thing to be consistently connected with our investors and potential investors.
Krishna, coming to our final but important story that just came a while back, where the Internet and Mobile Association of India is not too happy with the new GST bill, because it says it places sites such as YouTube, Google, Facebook, Twitter in a very precarious position, because the new bill really classifies these sites as agents and holds them liable for any content that's posted on these sites. Now, the IMAI has said that the provisions in the new GST bill are in contravention to the provisions that happened in the IT Act of 2000, and it's something that really needs to be addressed urgently. Otherwise, it will end up impacting the internet economy in India. So I guess while the rest of India Inc. is really cheering GST and hoping that it happens soon, especially after that mega exclusive PM interview, we have the internet companies that are not too happy with some provisions of the Act.
Interesting, Chandra, because at the end of the day, come what may, the passage of the GST bill is going to be the single most crucial factor for the Indian economy. And here's wishing that, and for that, the internet economy is going to be key in pushing the Indian economy forward. Here's hoping that those issues get ironed out sooner than later. And we have the GST bill as well sooner than later. On that note, we wrap things up on this special edition of 80 Now Startup Central. Thank you so much for watching, but don't go anywhere. Coming up next is Market Watch.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.